What's up, guys? Thanks so much for clicking on the video. My name is Leah, and let's recap and review Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. This is season 5, episode 9. So let's get into it. So let's get Mary's scene out the way. So we're in Utah. We're at Mary's home. We see her walking up the steps to her son's room. They get into the room, and Mary's son is laid up in bed with his wife. Now, I think they keep putting wife in quotations because I don't think they're actually legally married because no one has been able to find or produce a marriage certificate. So he's laid up in the bed with her. Mary is looking how dirty his room is, and she's like, "So when y'all gonna clean?" He ends up lying to her saying, "Oh, we cleaned." And she's like, "When?" And he's like, "Probably an hour ago." So then they both end up sitting up because Mary wants to have a conversation with them. We proceed to watch them dog these donuts. I don't know if Mary brought them up to them or they had the box of donuts in the room with them. But I mean, they eating, like scarfing them down like they haven't eaten in like hours or like a day or so. And so Mary is just looking at them. You got his girlfriend feeding him, which made me be like, "Oh, girl, you bold." Okay, because that's disrespectful. I think it's just disrespectful because they laid up in this lady's house getting high all day and just eating up her food and begging her for money. That I was like, "Girl, manners. Where are the manners at?" So Mary's just looking at them like just kind of disgusted at what she's seeing. And so she's kind of like, "I came up here to talk to y'all, not watch y'all eat." But then I'm also looking at Mary like, "Girl, why are you trying to have a serious conversation with two people that clearly are under the influence of something right now, sis?" Like I would I would not have a hard like try to have like a serious hard conversation with them. So we see Mary in the confessional, and she just talks about how her son is just different. Her son is normally a very ambitious and hardworking person, but this person in front of her, not so much. Because we didn't see a scene where she asks both of them, like, "So what y'all got planned this week?" He just smiling and laughing, just grinning and cheesing and not saying nothing. The girlfriend slash wife just looks like a deer caught in headlights, like she's just waiting to hear what he got to say. And they just laid in the bed together. And so Mary is just kind of like, she doesn't know what she would do if she will lose her, like if she lost her son. Like he's the reason she gets up every morning. He's the reason she breathes. And she feels like she played a part in the behavior that she's seeing because she coddled him and spoiled him so much. And that could be one of the pieces as to why he behaves the way he behaves. But also, this is also his fault because didn't nobody tell him to be a 21-year-old with an addiction issue. Like, he has to take ownership of that as well. I just don't know how she doing it because I don't know. If I was her, I probably like, and I don't have kids, but I really would be like, "Girl, you got a year. You got a year to get your life together, or you either going to rehab or you getting out my house." And it might be easier for me to say that because I don't have kids and things of that nature. But it's just like me knowing people who have had struggles with addiction and them being like, you have to be tough. You have to be downright mean to people sometimes to get them to wake up or just cut them off completely. I just feel like Mary is prolonging his rock bottom by housing him, giving him money whenever he begs for it or asks for it. It's like you're feeding the addiction. It's not going to get better until you pull yourself back. And I know that's easier said than done because she doesn't want to lose her child, but I would not be comfortable housing another person's kid, which is his wife, and she not paying bills, but she laid up in my son's bed in my house, in the house that I pay bills for. I'm feeding her and I'm feeding him, and my electricity bill, my utilities is skyrocketing. It's just that, like, girl, I don't know. I just was like, girl, this is But luckily we know he in rehab, and hopefully it works out for him and he can go to college and get his life together, because this right here, is a mess. Episode actually opens up where it left off, where John is telling Lisa, girl, Ty just said we got to leave if you and Bronwyn can't get it together. So they're sitting outside on the patio. Lisa looks like embarrassed and like she's getting emotional. And John was like, I love your relationship with Bronwyn. Y'all just need to talk to each other and work it out. And he was like, you don't need to talk to each other in front of the group. Just talk to each other one-on-one. We then see Ty tell Bronwyn, I'm going to take a couple of calls. But then she's sitting on the bed kind of looking like defeated and somewhat embarrassed by her husband telling Lisa to leave. So we end up seeing that they have lunch together. So everyone's sitting at the table. Out of nowhere, Lisa gonna then want to have a conversation with Bronwyn. I said, Lisa, didn't your husband just tell you, girl, don't do this in front of the crowd? But she gonna do it anyway. Here's the thing. I know people don't like Lisa, but for some reason, Lisa tickles me because she's so self-centered. She's so entitled. And it reminds me of earlier seasons of Housewives where the girls didn't really have money like that, but they had these like grandiose personalities. And she just reminds me of old Housewives. She reminds me of the women that can't apologize, but they will keep the show entertaining. So I enjoy Lisa to a certain extent. Because I was like, Lisa, girl, you stop. Okay. So then Lisa ends up being like, I want to continue this conversation. What I was trying to say is that I was just listening to Heather. Like I wasn't like I didn't think I needed to defend you because she was just sharing her feelings. Unlike if someone was lying on me like this one, and she points to Whitney. And Whitney was like, I'm not lying on you, Lisa. And Lisa said, yes, you did. You came up to me and said that I put these stories out about you. And then your husband got aggressive with me. And so Whitney was like, my husband wouldn't have gotten aggressive with you if you didn't approach him. So then they start to argue back and forth. I'm like, Lisa, didn't Father Todd say, girl, if you don't get it together, you're going to have to leave? Lisa said, girl, I don't care. I'm working for this Bravo check. So then Angie's just sitting there like, Lisa, let it go. So then Justin ends up being like, girl, you approached me. Had you not approached me, we wouldn't have anything. We wouldn't have nothing to say. Because Lisa was like, you were telling me F this, F that. And Justin was like, that is not what I said to you. You came up to me and said my wife was a liar. And I said, my wife's not an effing liar, Lisa. So then John is just like, Lisa breathed the wrong way. They got issues. One thing John gonna do is ride for his wife. And I love that for them. So then John jumps in and he's just like, okay. Let's end this here. Whitney, you did come at her in an accusatory tone. You didn't ask her in a questioning manner. Why not ask her now, did she release that information? And so Whitney's like, did you release that information about Alibaba? And Lisa says no. So John said, okay, we done with that. So then he's like, Whitney, have you ever lied or brought up fake stories about Lisa? Whitney ends up lying, saying she didn't. I said, you the same one that was going around saying that lady was sucking dick for jazz tickets, sis. So that was a lie. So Whitney was like, but I have said some really mean things. So he was like, okay, cool, we done. Anybody else got any issues? You know what I'm saying? So then Sean jumps in and says that, Lisa, you've been very abusive to my wife. You called her an effing B or called her a B, and they flash back to when they were in Milwaukee. And I'm looking at Sean like, shut up. Because now Lisa is like, wow. And I was like, if Lisa was quick, I'd have been like, give me examples. Because all Sean could say is like, I've heard y'all's conversations. And Lisa's like, if you can't handle the way I talk, that's just the way I communicate. But I'm like, if Angie has never brought it to Lisa, then that's Angie's fault. Like, if you don't like the way that lady talks to you, then you need to tell her, don't speak to me in that manner. But I'm also like, again, if I was Lisa, I'd have been like, Sean, give me examples. Give me examples of me being abusive towards your wife, because that's a very strong word to use about me. So the conversation kind of ends there because Lisa actually apologizes. She tells Angie, well, not really apologize, but she's like, I apologize if you ever felt like I have hurt you in some way. And Angie pretty much takes it. It then gets real awkward at the table. And then Seth breaks it up, Meredith's husband being like, whoever eats asparagus and their pee smells like it. And then everyone raises their hand and they laugh it off. So after Seth broke up the tension at the table, they all decided to play volleyball. I thought it was actually cute that they did like a Top Gun reference. Although the men were playing a little too hard, everybody was like sliding for the ball. The way that Justin, Whitney's husband, fell on the ground, I said, you too big and too old, sir. You gonna dislocate a shoulder. Get up. like dudes be like, men be taking it too far sometimes. I'm like, y'all just supposed to have this little cute little game of volleyball, and you sliding into it like it's an episode of High Q. Get up, sir. Get up. So they play volleyball, everyone has a good time, and then it's nighttime and we see everyone getting ready because Bronwyn is having a celebration dinner, like an anniversary dinner. So while we see some of the couples getting ready, we settle on the scene of Lisa and her husband John. So she's getting her makeup done, and John is like, how you feeling? And she's like, I feeling okay, but she was like, I was a little taken aback by what Sean said to me about supposedly like I'm abusive towards Angie. And she was like, when Meredith was complaining about him a few days prior because she's still upset saying that Sean was talking negatively about Brooks. I was like, I don't know Sean to be that way. I'm sorry you had that experience, but now I'm starting to feel some type of way. And so John is like, oh, welcome to the club. That's how you feeling. And she was like, yeah. We then see Whitney where Whitney's like, Lisa didn't even speak to me. It's just very awkward. And it's like I don't know what else we should do. And Whitney is really holding on to the fact that she truly believes that Lisa put out the Alibaba information. But the fact that Up and Adam has come out, you got Dana Whitley and other blog pages that are like, girl, it wasn't Lisa. It's looking more like it was your cousin Heather, allegedly. It's kind of like if I was Whitney, I would feel stupid watching this season play a bag. And even looking at the after show, because she is still like holding on to the fact that she believes that Lisa is the one that put the Alibaba stuff out there, when it's like, girl, it's been proven that it wasn't her. And now you're holding on to this. And when it comes time to the reunion, you more than likely are going to have to apologize to Lisa because you don't really have proof of it. And every time Lisa asks you, show me the proof, you don't want to show it. So that would make me feel like the proof that you have isn't good enough. So we then see Bronwyn. Girl, she settled on that $4 million necklace and Ty got it for her. It was I don't know. Like, I like jewelry, but I like jewelry pieces that are like more expressive. And I mean, the diamond necklace was gorgeous, but I was just kind of like, you get that for $4 million? Maybe if it was like yellow or like the color, I feel like just white diamonds I don't know, that just didn't do it for me, but that is her anniversary present and she's excited. Everyone's like, oh my gosh, when they see it. We end up seeing friends of Todd and Bronwyn's pull up to the ranch. Everybody's there. Lisa feels underdressed because everybody else is wearing like nice I wouldn't say gowns, but they are definitely more dressed up than her. So we see Bronwyn introduce Lisa to Clark, who is a lawyer. Bronwyn was like, he could be one of your other lawyers, because y'all know Lisa got like 6 lawyers on retainer. And they actually showed when Jen Shaw got caught up by the police or the feds, and she was on that bus being like, I'm like really scared. Like, am I in trouble? Like, is there anything we could be made culpable for? Like, oh my God. So that was funny. You then hear Todd trashing Lisa's tequila, basically saying that it's mediocre tequila. I said, okay, Todd, we get it. You don't like Lisa. They then have this sign called RT Band, which is supposed to be Richard Todd, which is Todd's name, and then Bronwyn Alyssa Newport. So Bronwyn's name, which I guess is like, how everyone like has like ship names. So I guess that's their shipping name. The party's still going on. We see Whitney making a comment about Seth and how he has on this ball cap that says Brooks Marks, which I guess is like a part of Meredith's like brand. And she was like, why does he have that on? As much as Meredith thinks that Angie and Sean are obsessed with her, honestly, girl, it's Whitney. Because Whitney had made 2 comments about Meredith this episode where I was just like, you could have definitely kept that to yourself. It wasn't something that needed to be said. So then they actually finally sit down to have dinner. And while they're sitting there, everyone was like, do we have any blankets? Because it was cold. I mean, they're in the desert. I think people forget that like it's hot in the desert. And then at nighttime, it is freezing. So they have on their blankets, and Bronwyn makes a comment where she was like, I know it's y'all, everyone's miserable, but isn't it beautiful outside? Just like my marriage to Todd. And like everyone was kind of like, girl, what? And then you have Meredith in her confessional saying like there's definitely tension between them. It's like a mal. But then Meredith's like, I don't even know if I could call it a mal, but there's definitely something. I knew I was right. I'm not gonna let y'all make me doubt myself. Because a lot of people were like, no, I think Todd is just not into reality TV. That could be the case. But Todd signed up for this. So he knows what he signed up for. But also that man is mad dismissive. Like the way he shut Bronwyn down when she was talking about her feelings about Gwen and like her dad's family. That one episode, there was a way that he could have spoke to her where it didn't come off like it was a father talking to his daughter. Then when we get to the last episode where he was like, I'm done, and she wasn't even looking him in the eye, she looked like a child being reprimanded. To now this sitting at the table where he basically shuts her down so badly, you could tell she was embarrassed and was stuttering. I said, yeah, that man is dismissive and controlling. And y'all was trying to act like I was crazy. No, I be knowing, okay? I'm a good observer. Okay. So everyone's kind of looking at Bronwyn like, girl, what? And she kept making jokes. And I was like, girl, it's not landing with the people. So then we find out that Angie and Sean brought whiteboards so they could play like I think it's like the marriage game. It's like, those games where they ask you a question and see if you guys get the right answer. So the first answer was like, who apologizes first? And the only couple to get it wrong was Seth and Meredith. I think Bronwyn is always apologizing to Todd. Lisa is I think Lisa is the one that apologizes to John first. Then Sean is always apologizing to Angie because Angie was like, Greeks don't apologize. Whitney's always apologizing to Justin. And then I think that was it. They did one about like sexual positions. Lisa was like, she didn't really want to answer that one. And then Angie being messy was like, who is the person sitting at the table that you are not feeling are not in a good place with, or you like the least? Clearly, Lisa picked Whitney. You then had John being like, he didn't want to put nobody. I don't even think we saw Seth's or Meredith's. Bronwyn said Lisa. Lisa was actually like shocked. And then Angie and Sean did Meredith. He didn't even spell Meredith's names correctly. He just put Mars instead of Mars, E-R. He put M-A-R. And then Justin and Whitney had two different people. Justin said Lisa, and he made it real big. And then Whitney said Meredith. So then I think it got kind of awkward because I think Whitney was like, Lisa, do you really think my husband owes you an apology? And she said, yeah. And I'm like, yeah, girl, why you keep asking like you don't know the answer to it? That lady feels like your man needs to apologize to her. And so then Justin ends up saying, well, I reacted the way I reacted because you approached me. You said my wife's a liar. I know my wife's not a liar. So that is why I said what I said. But if you think you deserve an apology, I am sorry for the way that I behaved. And so then Lisa, which I was surprised, apologized back saying that I'm sorry that I put you in that situation. And I was like, girl. And with the moment Justin apologized, the way Whitney was like, what you... Whitney was like, that was not the plan. That is not what we agreed upon. Like she was like, it was very much, Ho, are you cool? Like, are you serious? But now Whitney is like, now we can put a bow in it in her confessional because she's never going to admit that she did this. And I'm like, Whitney, I hope you feel stupid. I really do. I hope you sitting at the house feeling stupid because it's like you're running with this story and it's like so many people have come out. Even the person that you got the information from is saying that that's a lie. So anything that you present at the reunion is going to make you look crazy. You look crazy. Yes, because Meredith just saw Lisa and Justin make amends. Now she feels like this is the opportunity where she can confront Sean. So Lisa basically tells Sean, hey, I felt some type of way about the conversation that we had at your anniversary party. I apologized to you. And when I was asking for an apology from you about the things that I heard you say about my son, saying that I used my son for deflection, you couldn't apologize to me. And I think Meredith is coming from the space of like, I didn't even bring them rumors about you possibly being gay and, being a slut in these streets last season against you. And I thought about it. Meredith did not bring those rumors to the show. It was actually Monica and Whitney. Because if you go back and watch Greek Easter, Monica was trying to get Meredith to bring up the rumors that she heard, and Meredith did not give her any energy. So then Monica turned her attention to Whitney and tried to get Whitney in on it. And then Whitney and her started talking about the rumors. And then Whitney pulled in Angie to make it like a spectacle. But Meredith never brought those rumors to the show. So honestly, I'm looking at Angie like, you buddy with one of the people that helped bring the rumors to the show. Like, girl. So then, so I think Meredith is just like, I apologize to you. Why can't you just apologize for me? And so Sean is holding to his guns that he was like, I didn't say anything bad about Brooks. And I felt that way because it seemed that way to me. So they actually showed the podcast or the audio of the podcast, and they showed the words that he used. So he basically said this: she took an opportunity to leverage her son and the things like that, knowing that this didn't land quite the way that she wanted it to. So basically, Sean is saying that because Meredith was catching heat, because there was a lot of people who are part of the gay community that felt like she was trying to either out Sean or she was being homophobic, Meredith then propped up Brooks being like, no, I can't be that way because here's my son who's gay. I support him. I'm an ally. And Meredith is like, no, we never used our son. I would never use my son in that way. So then you see Seth, he's like, on his phone trying to pull up the article that is saying that Sean did that. You got Whitney on the sideline being like, where's the proof? Show the proof, Meredith. And I wanted someone to tell Whitney to shut the hell up, because Lisa has asked you more than like 4 or 5 times, show me the proof that I am the person that been putting this information out about Alibaba on you. And Whitney will not produce it. So why are you telling people, show me the proof? Show the proof, Meredith. Shut the hell up, Whitney. So you then see Seth pull up an article, and it's from Reality T, and it says RHOSLC, Sean Truvalo, y'all know me and last names, accuses Meredith Marks of using her son Brooks after gay rumors. And so then you see Seth take his phone and go, boom, biatch. And I said, whoa. And it got so awkward at the table. And Whitney is like, are you serious? Did you just call me a biatch? And he's like, yeah, because you're saying show the proof, and I just showed you the proof. And then you see Whitney in her confession be like, I'm trying to hold it together. And I'm looking at Justin like, you had all this energy for Lisa. Where is it for Seth? Because as much as I don't see it for Whitney, Seth was out of line calling that lady a biatch. He didn't need to do all of that. All he had to do was go, boom, here it is. Here's the receipts. But Justin had all that smoke for Lisa. I know for one thing, John would never let nobody talk to Lisa like that. John would have cussed Seth out so bad, probably would have went upside his head, would have ruined that anniversary dinner. Probably flipped the table like Teresa. But the fact that Justin just sat there, I was like, you not going to check him? No, none of the men at this table gonna check this man and say he was wrong for calling her a biatch. I was like, what the hell? What the hell? So you have Angie speaking up. She got on her sperm, with her sperm confessional. Basically, like, I think Meredith is bored because if she would actually listen and read the article, Sean didn't say anything disparaging about Brooks. So Sean ends up saying that, like, I didn't say anything disparaging about Brooks. I didn't say nothing like that. And if I ever would have said something about him in that way, I would take ownership of that. And you can't force anybody to apologize. Like, if Sean legit feels like he didn't do anything or he didn't say anything negative about Brooks, then what can they do? So then it was awkward at the table because Sean is not apologizing. So you have Angie trying to like shift the mood. And I was like, girl, maybe you need to leave that to Seth, because at least Seth will like I don't know, make people laugh. So Angie was like, well, let's talk about other things. Like, I'm really enjoying Todd, Father Todd, he's wonderful. I heard about the whole Gwen thing and how joyous that's been. And he's like, it's not joyous. And so Bronwyn is like, girl, why you bring this up? So then Angie is actually like, she looks genuinely shocked because I think Angie thought that they were gonna, like, the reconciliation might have been going well, but she probably didn't know. So then you hear Ty say, that's worse than what you just went. Oh yeah, him saying that's worse than what you just went through at the table after Seth just called Whitney biatches. He's like, why don't y'all stick with that? And so Angie is just like, whoa, okay, like, my bad, bro, I didn't know. So then Bronwyn tries to lighten the mood where she's just like, it was a surprise. It's not Lisa's fault that she stepped on a minefield. I'm the one that showed her the picture. She didn't know. And she's been very, like, accommodating. And so, my feelings are like, I still have hard feelings because, they treated me so poorly. And Todd is like, those are not feelings, those are facts. And so she's like, Bronwyn tries to talk about it, but then Todd is like, we done with it. I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to talk about it no more. And it gets awkward at the table, like real awkward. And you can tell that Bronwyn is embarrassed because she shut her down to the point she started stuttering. And she was like, I thought the ladies were going to embarrass me, but no, it was my husband. It was my husband. And you could tell that she was embarrassed because even at the end of the tape, she just had her hand over her mouth like she was trying not to cry. And I was like, yeah, I don't like being embarrassed. So I promise you, when we would have gotten to the bedroom, I would have cussed Todd out so bad he probably would want to divorce me. Cause I'd have been like, "Don't you ever play in my face like that, you mother!" Like, it'd have been, words would have been coming out of my mouth because I don't like being embarrassed. I don't like feeling small. And in that moment, you could tell that she felt small, and I felt bad for Bronwyn. You could also tell that Todd does not really like Lisa, or he thinks Lisa and Angie are the same person, or because he thinks they're beneath him, because he does give that energy that he thinks these people are not a part of his tax bracket, that he doesn't take the time to really get to know these people, because he was like, it's Lisa's fault that she brought up this information. And I was like, nah, Angie's the one that brought it up to you, not Lisa. Lisa's all the way at the other end of the table, sir. So what you mad about? And like a lot of people online have been comparing the relationship to, some people have said this is giving Kelsey Grammer and Camille from Real Housewives of Beverly Hills their first season. Other people have compared their relationship to Erica, Jane, and Tom, the way that Tom used to shut Erica down. But it is definitely giving that Todd feels like, when I say shut up, you shut up. The next day, and it seems like they had a fun time once the cameras were down. We saw them playing pool, taking shots. The girls were in the hot tub being like, this is what it's about, friends, family. They were really enjoying each other. We also saw them do like a drone display where they put like 2 hearts in the sky. I would love to go to one, especially one that I see in China where they have like 100 of them making like dragons and suns and stuff. It always just looks really cool. So they had a fun time that night before. So Whitney ends up saying, like, we a little hungover, but it was a good time. So we now see them actually go to the racetrack. And we find out that that was the first date that Bronwyn and Todd went on, where she met Mario Andretti. And she was like, this just means a lot. She was like, when we do anniversaries, we do them big. And they showed us, I think, like their 5th and 6th anniversary. So it was actually nice. We see this lady named Bree, who is the IndyCar partnerships. I don't know what kind of title that is, but I guess she is like the facilitator of like groups and showcasing them around. They end up meeting this really cute race driver named Ken, and Lisa was like, take off your shirt. We found out the man married with a kid. And John is like, he 20 years younger than me. As long as he don't take Lisa out on a date, I'm fine. He was cute. And he goes around shaking hands with all of them. They then get like a box and they start watching the races go. This is the part where I'm like, Whitney is like low-key obsessed with Meredith, because Meredith was sitting next to her husband, sitting on Seth, and Whitney talking to Justin being like, why does Meredith always have that mean face on? Like, why does she always look like she's irritated? And Justin is like, that's what my ex-wife used to look like. It's just her face. And I'm like, Whitney, why do you care for the way that she looks like? You don't want to be friends with better. You always accusing Meredith of stuff. So why do you care, girl? Why? So we then see Bronwyn go up to Lisa and being like, hey, can I have a conversation with you? And Lisa's like, sure, because she was like, we need to finish the chat that we were having at the lunch table yesterday, but we couldn't get it done because it was too many people there. So while they're trying to talk, you just hear, that's my cars zooming by sound. But you just hear the cars going by, the engines revving, and they can't hear each other. And so then, Braun was like, let's just talk about this tomorrow, or at least later on today, where we can hear each other. And they're like, okay, cool, let's do that. So then we see everybody get back to the house, and we see an interaction between Seth, Angie, and Sean, where Seth goes and hugs Angie and Sean and says goodbye to them. And Sean is kind of like, that was kind of weird. Like, what's really going on between him and Meredith? I said, Sean is speculating that there's something up with Meredith and Seth, because even Angie was like, when we got back to the house, she was like, they weren't really speaking or talking to anybody. And then Angie was like, for him to call us biatches. And I was like, he didn't call y'all biatches. He called Whitney a biatch. The only person that should be mad is Whitney and Justin. But they not really giving that kind of fever, the same fever that they was giving Lisa and John. I'm like, where is it for Seth and Meredith, especially Seth? And so we then end up seeing Whitney and Justin come and sit beside Angie and Sean. And they're like, we're just talking about him calling y'all this biatch and all of this stuff. And Whitney was like, yeah, that was uncalled for. That was just out of line. That was tasteless and tactless. So then you see Justin in his confessional being like, when did the men start to get involved in events? He was like, did he not learn from Angie's party? And then they flash back to Angie's party. And the only husbands that were at Angie's party was Sean, John, and Justin. And so then Justin is like, oh, Seth wasn't there. So then we get this scene of Seth telling Meredith, like, I'm about to head out. And it's very awkward between them. I don't know if this is being put on, because I've seen a lot of people speculate whether or not they really having marital issues. But Seth is like, okay, I got to stay. I delayed my trip. I'm about to head out, get on this plane. I'm heading to Minneapolis, and then I'm heading to Ohio. And she kisses him goodbye. Meredith just ends up being like, this is not what I wanted for us. And we kind of subsided the fire, but there's still embers burning that we need to discuss and get on the same page. We then see the conversation or the sit down between Lisa and Bronwyn, where they're like, okay, can we finally talk? So they sit down, and Bronwyn, I feel like, was doing what her husband does, where she wasn't allowing Lisa to just get out what she feels, because she didn't like Lisa's answer. And I know people are going up for Bronwyn. You do you, I do me. But I feel like Bronwyn wants the blind loyalty that Bronwyn is saying that Lisa wants. I think Bronwyn wants from Lisa, because girl, in the beginning of the season, you were upset that Lisa didn't defend you against Heather. But when they play the flashbacks, you hear Lisa being like, well, we all were being snarky. And that's just how she communicates. That's how I communicate. So in my mind, that is her sticking up for you. But you were being shady and you were being two-faced, Bronwyn, because the energy that you had in the car with them was mocking and making fun of Whitney versus you actually having a conversation with Whitney one-on-one in the car with her. So then when she brought up Brittany, I was like, girl, you've been coming at Brittany since the Bezos party, because that lady called your heart jacket a costume. So I feel like you want her to blindly support you the same way Lisa probably would want people to blindly support her. So Lisa just ends up telling her side, and because Bronwyn is just like, how are you how are you feeling? Like, maybe I'm not understanding. And so Lisa is just like, well, I was just listening to Heather because she was venting, and I feel like there's miscommunications between y'all. And Bronwyn was like, well, she's saying that I am a vicious, two-faced, evil bitch, and you're not defending me or saying that that's not the Bronwyn I know. And Lisa's like, well, I just feel like I'm in the middle, and I'm just trying to maneuver. So Bronwyn says, what that tells me means that you care more about your relationship with Heather than mine. And Lisa's like, that's not fair. Y'all are both my friends. So then Brahman is like, I don't know what Heather told you, but I cried after she left the house. And this is starting to make me feel like the cuntiness that we got from Bronwyn during the episode 1, where she was supposed to be this highbrow, high society, like confidence, like no nonsense type of girl, is not really who Bronwyn is. Because there's no way rock face Heather would ever make me cry. Especially when I make more money than her. I am established just like she is. There's no way Heather would make me feel bad about myself. Especially the same Heather who allows somebody to punch her in the face and she ain't clocked that lady back. Because I guarantee you, if I was Heather, I promise you, the moment Jen would have told me she hit me, I would have tore that room up and she'd have got 2 to the face. Okay? And any and everything I'd have picked up to knock her upside the head. So I'm just like, Bronwyn, you're not as confident as you lead on. So Lisa is like, no, like, I don't think you're a vicious person, because, like, she was like, do you think I'm a vicious person? And she's like, no, I don't think you're a vicious person. And she was like, well, do you think I'm phony or all this other stuff? Well, I feel like Lisa in that moment should have said, there's times I have felt like you have been fake and been two-faced. But Lisa says in her confessional, there have been times I felt like Bronwyn has been phony and Bronwyn has been fake. Then Bronwyn ends up saying that I feel like ever since I joined the group, you've been, like, things have changed between us. And I don't know. I saw some people saying that they feel like Lisa is jealous of Bronwyn. I don't think that's what it is. I think there's more to the situation. I think what I think is right. And you can have a difference of opinion, but I really do feel like Bronwyn was expecting Lisa to treat her a certain way in the group and possibly, like, be there with her, like, one-on-one, like they were supposed to be like Robin and Giselle, and Lisa was like, no girl, do you and I'ma do me. And the way that Lisa is doing her is not really conducive to how Bronwyn is feeling right about now. It's like, girl, this is not what I envisioned for us. They end up coming to some type of resolution because they end up hugging. The trip is over and we see everybody packing up, and we get this scene of Todd and Bronwyn where she's helping Todd pack, and she's like, you got your sleep machine, you got this, and she was like, what would you do without me? He doesn't say anything, like no cheeky rebuttal bag, nothing. And she notices it and she's like, oh, obviously you be fine because you ain't said nothing. I said, ooh, girl, he really upset that you brought them people on this anniversary trip with him. So then we see production asking Todd, like, would you ever go on a trip with this group again? And he was like, no. So then we actually see them take a group photo outside in the backyard, and then they all find out that they're flying back coach. And so everybody's like, pause. We flying coach. So Bronwyn got her and Todd first class seats. Everybody else has other seats sitting in coach. Lisa throws a fit. She was like, I ain't flown coach since high school. No, ma'am. And I said, Lisa, girl, no. Like I said, Lisa doesn't bother me. She actually tickles me. Okay, I am entertained by the antics of Lisa. But I was like, girl, get on the plane. It's only an hour and like 5-minute flight, because they kept saying it's a 65-minute flight. Girl, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. Now Lisa talking about like, we need to find another plane. I need to fly first class. I said, girl, get on that plane and shut up. But I do understand wanting to pick your own seat. I am a window seat kind of girl, and I do not sit in the middle. No. It's either on, I'm always on the side. You sit me in the middle, I will fight you. So I would have been irritated if that would have been the thing, but I do kind of understand where everybody else was like, girl, we flew on a private jet. Why now are we flying like commercial? Like, what happened? What happened? So Bronwyn is like, Lisa will be fine. And I said, yeah, Lisa, you'll be fine. And then the trip is over. And we back in Utah. Definitely excited for the episodes to come. We got a fourth wall moment while the girls are in Mexico. You got Bronwyn crying, saying Lisa can't own anything. Lisa crying, walking away. Meredith is talking about, we are not like this. It's chaos. And I'm so excited for it. We diving into more of Bronwyn's situation with her husband. I definitely can see Bronwyn getting on this show setting up for a divorce. I can. And they don't got no prenup. Smart. Very smart. But yeah, y'all, that is it. That is all. And as always, remember to be bravely authentic and definitely hop down in them comments below and share your thoughts, as well as give me a like, comment, and subscribe if you like what you heard. And I'm out, y'all. Deuces.